The Solana's RWA ecosystem is now at a new all-time high with $1.15 billion in assets issued.
This is Soul Brothers with myself, Simon, and my good friend Ino, where it is our job to throw you into the Solana rabbit hole and show you around in our exciting ecosystem.
Our mission is to take you on the latest and greatest so that you never run out of fun things to talk about. Simon, how the fuck are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Hanging in there. I'm back in a more human time zone for me. I used to work late nights the past couple of weeks, but I'm back in Europe. I'm in the financial hub of Europe, if you want to say so. It's Frankfurt. And I am looking at a few news in the Solana eco from last week. And let me tell you, I don't know what's happening, but the title of today's show, the Everything chain, definitely matches what happened in the past couple of days. There's everything being launched on Solana right now. So that's something we'll definitely dive into today. But we also have some interesting growth stats and numbers when it comes to Solana, as we always have. And we're covering some interesting news and updates from all kinds of projects on Solana that we'll dive in as well. And then there was a huge thing last week when you saw that first, how did that make you feel when Nikita said that InfoFi is dead? Did you have any opinion on this before we dive in deeper later? But what was the first kind of feeling? Was it like, hell yeah? Or
I've never particularly cared about InfoFi, and I did find it quite annoying to have all this financialized spam. So I'm glad that all these finish this quest by commenting on this post. Incentives are now banned. That's actually really good news from my perspective.
Okay, we're going to talk about it later. We'll see about that. But where shall we start, for today?
Yeah, I think the first piece of news that we want to cover, and of course the first thing that we do every podcast is Solana by the numbers, is that the Solana's RWA ecosystem is now at a new all-time high with $1.15 billion in assets issued. That is a beautiful point to see. This post by Nick Dukoff, who's the head of institutional over at Solana Foundation, obviously has been doing a lot of work in Switzerland and all around the world to convince issuers to launch high-quality RWAs, and then also finding other institutions to put liquidity into those assets. And so, what you're looking at right now is about $1.15 billion worth of RWAs issued on Solana. We are the number one RWA chain, and this is just the beginning.
Damn. I think this is definitely one of the bigger trends that we had coming up in the past, let's say, 12 to 24 months. And $1 billion is just scratching the surface. If you think about tokenizing the whole world, there's trillions of dollars we can bring on the blockchain. And I think everyone's talking about it. So definitely one of the verticals where I see Solana can actually take a very important role in global finance with tokenization. And this is just the beginning, guys. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, right. But that's not all, of course. We also have a report that's by Amundi. I think you're the one who found this report. Can you tell us anything about this report?
Yeah, so Amundi is one of the European asset managers that is kind of known for active management of different kinds of portfolios. So he's doing portfolio management. I think they're also putting out ETFs, and they're managing a few ETFs as well in Europe. And these guys are also on the RWA train now. So they put out a report on tokenization. And I think I don't know how many pages are in there. 158 report. So I thought it's a good shout out to a piece of content that people might want to jump into if you want to learn more about tokenization. It will basically give you a little bit of the TLDR of what tokenization really is. And then it will also give you kind of the roundhouse kick from fundamentals, what it means to kind of set up tokenized assets on a technical level, over to regulation, what needs to be done in a regulatory way, and where are we today, basically, the latest stage of it. And then also what kind of business can you build on top of that, and how do you actually make revenue as someone that is tapping into the tokenization market. And then also how do you distribute this these assets in this kind of new world that we're in. And lastly, also, where are we going in the future when it comes to who's actually tokenizing these things and distributing them? So a competitive landscape overview. So it's a really nice kind of, like I said, roundhouse cake of tokenization. Like, it's definitely a content piece that I would dive into a little bit deeper if you want to learn more about tokenization. And I also think that seeing people and companies like Amundi putting out these deep research pieces is, it's interesting. Like, these guys, they didn't think about tokenization 2 years ago. And now they're basically allocating a whole research team to dive into it, write a report on it. Like, if they're not moving on this, I don't know. Like, it just makes sense. Like, if they make these research papers, they're also going to move on it, and they're going to offer tokenized assets very soon. And I think our job is going to be to bring these people on the blockchain. And luckily, we do have some companies on Solana that are bringing these people on the blockchain. And I think that's a good pivot for the next one,
Yeah, I mean, it's no coincidence that the RWA all-time high coincides with a 25% increase in TVL. And so where is that 25% coming from, Simon? It's actually coming from something called Prime Markets, which is it's a token that it's the flagship product of a company called Hastra, which is actually a subsidiary, or at least a partner company or a sister company to another organization called Figure. Figure, of course, provides home loans to American citizens so they can purchase their first houses. And Prime is a tokenization of some of those home loans, as well as some other RWA yield. Correct me if I'm mistaken, Simon, but I believe it's about 8% yield you can get on Prime per year.
Yeah, exactly. 8% yield from real loan repayments, kind of a stable yield source on chain that you can get here. It is coming in a fully liquid and transferable form because, the ticker is Prime, it's a token. You get exposure on Camino itself as well. You can stake it there. You can also just directly hold it. You can even loop it on Camino if you want amplified yields. So looping essentially means you're taking a small margin on top of your holdings to get more holdings. Very literally finance 101 from the early times and worlds of Wall Street. But now we're doing it on chain, permissionlessness, completely permissionless. And I think it's really cool to see this convergence of very traditional APY products like home loans, right? In DeFi now, where you can then loop on top of it. Again, I said this before, there's so many financial products right now that we're getting in Solana DeFi that I would have zero ideas how to get that exposure and that instrument in the real world. When I say real world, I mean traditional finance, right? For me, the real world is crypto. But I have no idea how to get exposure to this really. Like, where do I need to sign up, and who do I even use for that, and how can I sell it, and is it liquid or not? I don't know. And if I'm already thinking that, what about the generation before me? So I think we're growing a whole generation of people that are going to be native to these sort of financial instruments distributed by companies like Camino or some of the newer neobanks that are integrating some of the DeFi protocols. Does it make sense? Like this whole...
Yeah, of course, man. Like, how the hell else would you... I'm sure there are clever ways for you to loop, let's say, treasury bill yield, or to loop, home finance loans that are backed by credit, right? But what's sexier than having really dependable credit-backed yield that you can loop to, like, let's say 20% or more, right? That's really, really sexy, because that means that your capital, you can be much more capital efficient. You can get much more yield for the amount of money that you're using. And of course, every single loop strategy comes with risk. This is not financial advice. There could be a black swan event that would destroy your entire position. But if you were going to loop any type of asset, this is the type of asset that I would prefer to loop, because they tend to be less volatile and also credit backed.
Can I ask you something that is related to this whole topic, just to get your check on it? The other day I had a stream going on here with Jordan, also known as That Martini Guy on YouTube. Shout out again for TMG to jump on the stream as well. And he said something that made me think, and I answered to it. I would like to see how you answered to it. He basically said that he And if he says that there's going to be others like him that say it, is too scared to put significant capital still today into DeFi, any sort of DeFi app. So now we're looking at a persona that is kind of crypto adjacent, like Ethereum, Solana. They don't really like this kind of persona, doesn't really care about where. They used DeFi platforms before and they lost money because of some weird ass scams and hacks and so on, even in what looked like a trustworthy platform in DeFi. And then there's no support hotline that you can call. There's nothing, right? So basically just your money's gone. You can complain in the comment section below a tweet, but no one's going to answer. And they're kind of burned and they have this DeFi hack PTSD. And I was like, damn, like these people exist actually, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I would raise $5 million and put them in Camino without a blinking right now. Am I stupid or is he missing something? Right? Like, do you have like a take on that? Am I naive, or do you think we're at the stage on Solana, especially right now, where we do have DeFi platforms that are more unruggable than before? And what gives consumers certainty to actually interact with these?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I don't think that Jordan's fears are misplaced. I think that the majority of the world feels the way that he feels. And there's really only two things that are going to fix that problem. And this is just historical to any new financial primitive. Number one is Lindy effect, right? So you need a protocol that has existed for more than a year that hasn't gotten rugged. And fortunately, Camino has been around since the early days of Solana. And every single year that they don't have an exploit or some sort of weird flash loan attack on the platform, every year that is true is just another a couple points stronger added to the Lindy score, right? So at some point, whether it's 5 years from now or 10 years from now, they'll have enough of a quote unquote Lindy reputation to overcome that barrier. Number two is credit, right? Like you're not allowed to call it insurance because that gets into a lot of regulatory concerns. But we do need insurance products on chain, right? And we already have some equivalents of this. So like, let's take Lulo as an example, which is a stablecoin yield aggregator. It directs your deposits into the highest stablecoin yields. And they have two products. They have Lulo Protect and Lulo Boost. Lulo Boost gets a small amount of percentage payment from the Lulo Protect pool. And they get more yield, but also in the case of some sort of black swan event, they are the capital of first loss, right? Whereas like the Lulo Protect pool, you do earn less. You earn about maybe like 3% as opposed to like 6%. However, in the case that some black swan event happens, your deposit is insured, right? There's someone underwriting that deposit, and that underwriter is the Lulo Boost pool. So we're going to need a combination of those two things. Does that jive with you?
Actually, I didn't even think about the most important point of everything, which is the insurance part of things. And we have it already. We do already have insurance products, as you say. So I think that is something that is becoming more and more interesting and important. The first thing that came up in my mind is like more of again, it's not a super strong argument, but it's more like, okay, do you see how much TVL in Camino is? And do you know who puts that money in there? Don't you think these people do their research? That's a little bit more like the way I sell it. And like, the audits they have and so on. So there's like some certain level of security. Anyway, TLDR, there's still a lot of shit to do here, and education as well. And we need more Lindy. So we just need more time without exploits. So far, so good on Solana. I think we're doing great. We didn't have I don't think there was a major hack or anything crazy that happened on the Solana chain for quite some time now. So that is definitely positive.
Yeah, there were a couple of hacks here and there last year. So Texture Finance had a hack at about, I think, 2 million USDC, and Loopscale also had a hack. But both of those situations were resolved amicably, and they have to rebuild their Lindy scores from zero. And I know Igor is working on some other stuff right now. So best of luck to him.
I can tell
you. Keep shipping.
Everyone is cooking on Solana, and the numbers are not lying. What numbers are we looking at now?
Yeah, I mean, one other piece of wow, we've spent a lot of time on this section, but there's just too much bullish news on this chain, Simon. So Solana continues to surpass all L1 and L2 chains in DEX volume for the 21st consecutive week. Jesus Christ, Simon, it's not even close. We're talking about $28 billion worth of volume compared to Ethereum, where that's more than 3 times the amount of trading. So I mean, clearly we're dominating that volume.
Yeah, and when I was looking at these numbers, I thought to myself, okay, I see this all the time, right? I see like, okay, Solana's doing $28 billion of revenue on the protocol level, right? What is it? It's in DEX volume. Sorry, it's doing 28. Correct myself. It's doing 28 billion in DEX volume in a 1 week span. So okay, now we have that number doesn't tell me anything. But then I compare it to Ethereum, and I'm already okay. Good. We're 20 billion more than Ethereum, right? And we're more than 20 billion more than Binance Smart Chain, which is the third largest, and so on. So it always puts us in a nice spot. But how do we compare actually to the, again, real world? How does this volume of trading activity actually compare to exchanges, right? I'm sitting in Frankfurt here right now, where we have the Deutsche Börse, which is the basically German exchange where you can list your token. Where you can list your stock and trade your company and so on. And you know how much they make per week? Like how much volume is being traded per week? It is between 25, 27 billion. So right around that number. So basically what I'm saying is the Deutsche Börse, which is it's a decent exchange, right? Or we do have companies in Germany. There's the DAX. There's there's stuff happening. There's people trading. We do around the same amount of trading volume in a week than Solana DEXs. Let that sink in for all. And I'm taking it with a grain of salt because that is a snapshot, of Deutsche Börse average and one good week on Solana. We might have weeks on Solana where it's different, but I think the trend is going in a direction where we're surpassing these kind of exchanges, and it's only a 10x away from the New York Stock Exchange, by the way.
We are. This is a dead market, man. Like during the Trump trading craze, and like when we get to the next bull market, I mean, the volumes are going to be godly. We are going to quickly approach, NYSE volume. This is fucking nuts.
Actually, to soften this a little bit, the New York Stock Exchange is making 10x than Solana in a week on an average Tuesday. So they don't make so there's still but it's good. There's growth potential, right? There's still a way to go up. It's good, I guess.
Yep. But of course, that is not the only piece of bullish news or the last piece of bullish news that we have for numbers. Currently, crypto cards are doing $1.5 billion in volume every single month. This is an increase from $100 million in volume every month, going back to early 2023. Artemis has released this really beautiful report. Really recommend that you take the time to read it if you want to learn more about crypto cards and what's going on there. But the headline, Simon, is that they're not replacing Visa and MasterCard. They're using Visa and MasterCard. And Visa's eating up about 90% of all on-chain credit card transactions. So, clearly one of these issuers is winning that battle.
Yeah, and so basically we're still using the same legacy frameworks and rails for our shit, but at least things are being paid in crypto cards, right? That's the TLDR here. Like Visa and MasterCard are still dominating, I guess. But at least it's not banks that are using them anymore to that extent. It's also a lot of crypto companies and neobanks, which is cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, Simon. I think we have a lot of stuff that we want to cover. There's a lot of good tech on Solana, believe it or not.
Yeah, there's good tech. And since we're the everything chain, there's a lot that has been launched the past couple of days on Solana. So I think that is going to take up some of the next news section, which is just some quick fire updates from the Solana ecosystem here that we're going to run through. You ready to start, Ino? Do you want to give us the first one?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. So, of course, the first thing that we're going to talk about is Lit from Lighter XYZ is now available natively on Solana. Lighter XYZ's Lit token is now natively integrated on Solana, enabling efficient liquidity and order book trading, as posted by the Lighter XYZ account, with details on seamless swaps and community notes on boosted DeFi performance.
Lit on Solana. They're not the only ones. We also have STRK or Stark, the Starknet token, also now live on Solana. You might remember that little teaser tweet that was out there, but now the actual news dropped. Starknet Stark token is live on Solana via Near protocol Intense. So it's Solana, Starknet, and Near working together, facilitating unified liquidity and one-click swaps, as announced by Solana and Near protocol and Starknet as well, with staking rewards and initial interaction volumes. So that is also the next token that is now coming from a different ecosystem to Solana, but it's not the only one. What else we got?
Guys, we got so many tokens dropping, and not every time we don't have to use rage bait to get everyone's attention. So this next one is Fun. The football.fun token is now live on Solana. Football.fun's Fun token launched on Solana paired with USD1, the stablecoin from World Liberty Financial, the company owned by Trump and his dumb children, on Radium for trading, as launched by Solana and the football.fun with airdrop reserves and skill-based rewards for holders.
So that's definitely another one to check out. And then last but not least, that is there's like at least 2 more tokens, I think, that launched. One of them is Zora as well, which is also now live on Solana. They launched, I think, like end of last week. And it is a creator economy token from a very prolific project called Zora out there. And now you can also have Zora available in your favorite Solana apps, like swap it on Jupiter Exchange, buy it on Phantom, or put liquidity on Meteora in Zora. Welcome to Solana.
Solana Mobile allocations just went live, anticipating the SKR launch. Solana Mobile's allocations are live, launching on January 21st, enabling users to claim based on activity. There's 1.82 billion secret tokens allocated to over 100,000 users across 5 tiers, and the top tier allocation is set at 750,000 SKR in one shot. That is absolutely phenomenal, Simon.
Damn, and I just got my Seeker like 2 days ago, and it was just laying around in Germany for like half a year. Fuck my life. Anyway.
Oh, no.
Next one is Avicii Money. They have launched named virtual accounts on Solana. You can check that news post out as well. Avicii Money launched named virtual accounts, enabling self-custody fiat-compatible banking with yield on USDV balances. They posted this in a little explainer video on their main account at Avicii Money. Pretty cool.
Pump.fun rolled out callouts in its mobile app, a feature letting users highlight and discuss specific details or trends directly in the app. The user flow is to call out a coin every 6 hours and alert all your followers via push notifications. So now you have just found a new way to piss off all your friends.
Yeah, maybe, if you're making up the leaderboard, everyone is going to copy trade you, and then you can just dump on people again. Hell yeah, let's go. Next news is Titan Exchange's limit orders, which have launched now with select USD1 pairs, another collaboration here with WLFI. Shout out to the BD team of World Liberty here. Titan Exchange launched limit orders for select USD1 pairs. You can check it out on the exchange right now. You can buy, sell prices with advanced execution. And they say it has 20% better fills than other limit orders that you have on Solana, because it's a so-called true on-chain limited order. Not 100% sure what that means, but check it out yourself and see how smooth it actually works. I tried it, and it is pretty decent.
Trojan on Solana, with their famous catchphrase, "You are our exit liquidity," launched its trading terminal with over $5 million in rewards for early users, featuring advanced charts, MEV protection, and cross-chain tools, with 5K in signups in just a few hours. And you too, using their trading terminal, can become Trojan's exit liquidity.
But the $5 million in rewards are definitely juicy. So check it out. Don't get broke though. IBKR Interactive Brokers added 24/7 funding with USDC on Solana, enabling instant deposits or withdrawals for trading. They announced this on their official Twitter account with a rollout post. And I have to say, this is another legacy player in the finance world that is, utilizing stablecoins on Solana for a better user experience. It just makes sense.
This is actually probably one of the bigger pieces of news that people are not paying attention to.
Yep.
IBKR does basically all of the money settlement in the world, and we can get to day zero settlement with this integration. So fingers crossed on that. Anza announced SIMD 0339, which is now live on Solana DevNet. Solana Improvement Document 0339 raises the CPI account limit info from 64 to 255. So programs can pass larger account lists through cross-program invocations with fewer workarounds. The upgrade is already live on DevNet, starting from Epoch 1008. And I recently was speaking with the team about integrating a new Sanctum product called Sol S. And one of the concerns, or at least the things that they were talking about, was, well, how many accounts does this use? It's because the account limits are so, each account takes up about 33 bits of space, which is a lot. So if you want to do multiple accounts without lookup tables, you can now do so on DevNet with SIMD 339.
Nice. I love when Anza is shipping because it usually makes things better on Solana. I'm really grateful that we have them.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
What else we got? What else we got?
We are going now into the deep dive section of our podcast, and you had already very helpfully hinted to this, right before we got started with the podcast. But this is there have been some pretty big. Okay, let's just pause for a second before we go into this. Can we just agree that X has been, the timeline and posting and engagement has been kind of dog shit and weird, and like for the last month, it's just been weird.
Yeah, I think weird is a good word for it. I didn't feel like it's creepy. Like, I didn't feel like it's super bad, but then also you don't really feel that you get sucked into a different sort of content exposure. And then when I thought about it, it's actually true. Like, I saw less of the stuff that I probably want to see. Why are you on Twitter as a consumer, right? And what do you want from the platform? And that's a question I want to ask you as well, not just you as a consumer, but what do you think consumers want? Like, imagine, you're putting a persona on an individual and say, okay, this is the typical Twitter user. Obviously, you need to put people in a bucket here, but that's okay for the sake of the thought experiment. But what kind of people are, or what do people expect from Twitter? Why are they on the platform? Let's start there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's clearly, it's two things, right? Like, one is it's an exchange of ideas, right? So you want to get surface area with ideas that you might not have otherwise have encountered. Like, you have some of the best thinkers in the world writing about their subjects on Twitter. So like on the one hand, I think content monetization works very well with this goal, right? Like, I want interesting stuff, subject matter experts teaching me things. They're writing long form posts about it. They want to monetize the content on that. That's fine. That makes sense to me. But the second thing is, it seems trivial and it doesn't really contribute to the bottom line, but it matters for the vibes, is I want to connect with the homies, right? Like, I'm trying to meet other human beings. I want to connect and see what they're doing and what they're working on, get their life updates. And this is not so easily monetized, right? Like, what people are working on, it might not be a banger, right? To the main timeline, but it certainly is something that I'm interested in. Like, I want to know how my friends are doing. I want to know what they're working on. And I'm not getting that so much. I'm getting a lot of the first thing that can be easily monetized, which is like the article thought pieces, right? Really deep dives into something that's interesting. Like, I get that part, right? But where's the vibes, man? Like, the vibes feel completely devoid on the timeline right now.
Yeah, I think it has probably to do with the compass that the Twitter team under management of Musk right now has put in front of them, and that compass is pointing them in a slightly different direction, potentially. I'm not in their brain, but I think what you're describing is like the Instagram value prop a little bit, right? Like, stay up to date with your friends, like watch the stories of people, of the creators you love and the friends you would like to stay in touch with. Stories have been such a genius feature, by the way, because think about it. That's a bit off the topic, but in Instagram, you have this great, like, it is a very smart setup. You have reels that can reach everyone, right? You post a reel, it can go out there, it goes and explore, you get like different distribution. And then if people like what you do, if they become your friend or your follower or your fan, they will subscribe to your account, they will follow you, and they'll see your posts, right? So they also see the videos you post, not only the reels that make it to explore. So they become a bit closer. And if they then want to actually be part of your life and kind of see what you do on a day-to-day basis, they will watch your stories and they will come on the top of your Instagram all the time because you keep watching the same guys' stories all the time. And it creates a super close relationship with the friend you're having or the creator you have that becomes your friend, even though he doesn't know you, which is the best relation you can create between a creator and a viewer. And that's what I wish as well. It's like, I want my viewers to be my friends, even though I don't know them personally, because I can't know everyone in the world. But if any one of the people that follow me and watch me and so on text me somewhere, they know me already much better than I know them. But that's great. Like, I'm happy. I'm open. Like, I want to talk with them. I want to get to know them. Instagram is doing this very well, while Twitter seems to be more like what the other thing you said. Inspiration, thought pieces, thought-provoking. Come here to get inspired, but also, very big, come here to get updates, news, financial news, information, media, unfiltered media. Yeah, but last point here, because I think it's really interesting, and then I'll stop. Jack Dorsey, and I just looked that up right now, pitched Twitter at Odeo in 2006 as an SMS-based status updater for sharing what you're doing with friends in real time. The value proposition was instant connections, ego display through brief personal updates. That was Jack Dorsey's vision of what Twitter is. I don't think that's Twitter today under Musk. Just saying.
Yeah. Twitter is becoming increasingly a media brand, right? And it's always had that function, right? It's just they're leaning into that very heavily. And the social media component of Twitter is being deprioritized, phased out. And so I have found my own workarounds. I tend to not look for the suggested tab and more in my own curated folders now. So that's kind of how I'm keeping my timeline a little bit more curated for me. But it's clear, even looking at those timelines, it's depressing, man, because there's basically zero engagement on people who are prolific posters and post a lot. It's even accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers that traditionally get hundreds of comments and likes, and they're getting nerfed, man. Like, some of those posts are getting like 500, 600 views. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. But you know what does get a lot of views? This. It's just stupid. That's it, by the way. That's the post. Yeah. It's an article that is dressed as an article, but it's just a satire post. It's supposed to be funny. How to fix your entire life in 1 minute. Step 1, download Phantom. And then obviously it's a ode to Dan Cohen, I suppose his name, who wrote a fairly good article, not gonna lie, about how to fix your life in 1 day, and that got super viral, and now everyone is making fun of it. And these posts right now, they get 2,000 likes and millions of
it does seem like whatever engagement is not being given to posts that used to do really well. Like, I had a post the other day. It was just a screenshot. That's all I did. It got to like 90,000 views. I was like, what in the fuck? It was like, which is depressing. You look at my other posts, it's like literally like 0 engagement, 100 views, 200 views, 300 views, 90,000 views. I'm like, what the fuck just happened here? Like almost like 400 likes. It was crazy.
What triggered people to engage with it? What do you think?
Well, because I had screenshotted someone's article about how when they moved from Base to Solana, within 48 hours, they had made $4 million, right? And that got the Base crowd really angry, because like, that guy's a scammer. Like, he literally supports Ponzi's. Like, how are you selling? So then, and the post started off really slow, by the way. The first 24 hours, like basically 0 engagement. Okay, I'm used to this. And then somehow the algorithm picked it up, and then the Base nerds got a hold of it, and then there was kind of a flame war between both sides. So that's why it did well. But it just kind of like the things that get boosted, like in the past, that post maybe would have gotten boosted to 10K, maybe 15, right? Yeah. But it got boosted to fucking oblivion. It's like at 90,000 impressions now, which is like, what the heck,
Anyway, so Twitter is changing. Twitter is going through like some scrutiny of the head of product, Nikita. To give everyone the TLDR here of what happened in the past 7 days, it started with this. I'm going to pull up Eno's screen here. So Nikita posted this one. Now it got a lot of views. A lot of people talked about this. Everyone started reposting this. We will no longer allow apps that reward users for posting on X, aka he called it out InfoFi. This has led to a tremendous amount of AI slop and reply spam on the platform. So now they revoked the API access from these apps. So they basically blacklisted a set of apps from the business API and said, you are an InfoFi platform. You're blacklisted. You're not following the terms and conditions and rules that we just changed probably. So ciao cacao. And they literally obliterated full businesses within a minute. Because what happened after this post, and that is just exemplary of the aftermath, was this. They just got, sorry for my language, fucked in the ass. Kaito here, Kaito, literally, it is, I can't say it otherwise, because imagine you're the founder and you're like, it's a normal fucking Wednesday, whatever the day it was. You're not expecting anything to happen. You're like just tinkering on your thing and you're like, okay, I'm building InfoFi. I'm greatest founder in the world. And then you look at your token, you're like, wait a second. Who sold? And then you look on Twitter and then you're, oh, everyone. Now I know why. So that's basically what happened. Kaito's not the only platform. Obviously, there are others like Cookie3. They're the most prominent ones that I call out here. And yeah, I guess this was definitely the death of InfoFi. Everyone had an opinion on it. We have one. Ours is kind of the same between me and Eno. It's like InfoFi was not a net positive for the industry anyways. It was a lot of AI slop. It was a lot of wrong incentives set for quantity over quality. Just talk about my project, get that handle and hashtag promoted. So I'm trending, get my token out there, get my product out there. I don't care what you talk about, copy paste it, just go for it. Get engagement. That is just, it is too inflationary exposure, and that destroys the user experience on Twitter. So I think it is, like everyone says, a good thing. It will change how marketing works a little bit, not too much. But I did already give a lot of my takes on this topic in the last Solid Talk on Saturday. So if people want an even more deep dive, because it does touch also a lot of other things I do, then definitely rewatch the Solid Talk on the Solana Identity channel. Because I think me and Pierre, we kind of went through it in more depth than we can do it here today, because we have so many things we want to capture here at Sol Brothers. But yeah, TLDR, I think it's okay. It's good. I'm sorry for the people that got hurt by this. Definitely, because that's the risk you're taking. If you're building a whole business on top of one API that is very centralized. So it happened. I'm sorry for these people, but I'm also happy that we're getting potentially a little bit more signal on crypto Twitter.
Yeah. Obviously, this is a nightmare for anybody who's working in InFi, and our heart actually genuinely does go out to you. It does suck if you're a builder and you put your basically years of your life into building out a product. And
shit happens.
Pivot. I felt like there was a version of Kaido I really loved, which was advanced Twitter analytics, so you could see which voices really matter. Right.
I think they still do it. I think they still have products, by the way. They're not gone. They're going to iterate. The founder already gave out a few statements. I think, that part of the business probably will find its way to survive.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but not gonna lie, I am glad to not have financialized spam on the app anymore. So that's a net positive. And of course, Simon, we are going to end with some really important sponsor updates. And number one, of course, we're going to talk about the main sponsors of the Sol Brothers podcast. It is Solflare. What can you tell us about their new P&L, the us versus them, right? P&L isn't just about profit.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. What you can do in the Solflare mobile app and the desktop extension right now is click on any token that you have, and you will see basically your lifetime P&L in a few seconds. No syncing, no third-party accounts. It works on every token, everything you basically did with that wallet according to that single token. Every swap, every trade you did, you can see it in one little P&L box. It's a nice feature, but it might be painful for you depending on how you trade it, because you'll see the truth of your token performances here. But it's definitely a very good feature. And yeah, I don't really know where else I would get it that way. Probably there's some portfolio apps where you can get similar data, but this is the most clean user experience you can get here in the Software wallet. Just click on a token, see your lifetime P&L on every swaps, every trade. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and Soulflare is not the only team with an update. Our friends over in SNS have also launched their Q1 roadmap for 2026, and they had a blockbuster year last year. I expect that trend to continue. So from infra updates to batch tools, community hubs, and curated auctions, 2021 is full of amazing surprises for you. If you click on this link at the tweet, you'll see the SNS roadmap post for 2026, and obviously they have a bunch of progress updates. I think that SNS has one of the best community reporting and or feature distillation. I know FlashTrade also does a wonderful job as well, kind of coming up with these quarterly or end of year kind of like updates about the product and where it's going.
No, it's definitely good. And one highlight here from SNS roadmap is the very top of their page, which is the marketplace V2, which they're tinkering on right now. And I think it's going to probably launch now in the next weeks, very soon. I think we're very close to it. What did I say? V2 turns complex on-chain data into clear insights, making domain trading feel effortless. So we're going to enter an age of more seamless trading of Web3 domains via the SNS marketplace. Domains are a booming industry in Web2 since ever. Everyone who ever bought a domain knows that. It can get very difficult to get your wish domain, and it can get very pricey. There's whole marketplaces around it, whole structures being built. And SNS wants to positioning themselves as the home for domain trading on Solana. It's cool. We want to see more of that, by the way. Yeah.
And last but not least, our friends over at FlashTrade. And a big milestone for FlashTrade is the listing of the first flu-based market. What the hell is flu, Simon?
I always forget it. Fixed little utilization.
Flexible lock utilization. Right.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, flexible lock utilization. I can tell you what it is in a nutshell, which is easier for me than the fucking abbreviation. Very easy explained. It just helps FlashTrade to list all kinds of tokens on leverage, right? Instead of just 3 tokens or something like most perp dexes. The FLU tech stack helps them to list tokens like BNB, for example. Just quickly as that, they can basically do token listing in a day and slap a 50x leverage on top of it. And that's what they did. Now you can trade Binance Coin on Solana. On leverage.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I mean, that's the name in the game for every perp stacks is like how fast can they list assets that matter? Because sometimes an asset only matters for a couple of days. And if you have to wait, all the way towards, I don't know, a few days or even weeks for an asset to get listed, then what was the fucking point?
Yeah, and we saw it last year. I think we saw it with Aura. We saw it with Zcash. We saw it with 00 token. Like these tokens were listed super quickly on FlashTrade, where you can actually trade the trend instead of listing it 2 weeks after all the volume died off again, right? On these fast moving tokens. So that was cool, and I think that is a huge competitive advantage they have right now, because I don't see other perp dexes listing leveraged tokens fast as that right now on Solana. And I think it's going to get even faster and even crazier in the next couple of weeks with additional listings.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, that wraps up this week's edition of Soul Brothers. Simon, you want to take us away?
Hell yeah. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to another edition of Soul Brothers. You guys have a blessed week and stay safe out there. Make sure to follow us on YouTube and subscribe to the account. Maybe even leave a comment on the video if you watch it on YouTube. And remember, we are live streaming as well. So you can join these live streams every single week on Mondays and on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays-ish for the second stream of the week if you want to be in the comment section and get the news when they are fresh. Until then, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.